Hello and welcome to TLJT Talks. Today we are hosting Mr. Sanjoy Ghose. Obviously, he needs no introduction, but still I'll do it for the sake of formality. He's a practicing advocate at Delhi High Court and Supreme Court of India, a graduate from NLSIU, a published author, widely regarded as a celebrity lawyer, and I don't know why, but he claims to be a struggling lawyer on his Twitter bio. So let's start from that only, sir. Why? Why do you claim to be a celebrity? Why do you claim to be a struggling lawyer? There are many law students who look up to you, right? So I just want to ask why.
Well, life is always a struggle. No? It is just that the nature of the struggle changes. But don't be under any impression that your struggle is over. And also, like in our profession, like you say, learning, you are always learning. It's a practice. So you're always practicing. So, I find youngsters at times, like someone came to me for a job and said that, I've worked in the trial court and now I want to work in the high court. So I said, you've just been a year in the trial court. So the person said, I've learned everything of the trial court. So, for me, that is, really, really overwhelming because I can't imagine being more than 26 years in the profession. Still, I feel that, there's so much to learn. So the struggling lawyer is a good bio on Twitter. There is a history. I've spoken about it earlier also. I had joined Twitter in 2010 and, everyone puts, lamba chauda bio. I just struggling lawyer. I was not active on Twitter at all until, let's say, 2019, mid 2019. And so therefore the bio remained. And in fact, that's the time when I felt that someone has to speak out about issues of our judiciary, about independence of the judiciary, about the executive. By that time, I was also standing counsel of the Delhi government, standing counsel of the Delhi High Court, and was pretty senior in the profession. So if I realized that if I put all of that in my Twitter bio, the trolling would be at a very, very high level. So I stuck to struggling lawyer, and the worst troll comment would be, "Isliye to tu struggling hai, struggling hi reh jata pura zindagi." So that was okay with me. I was okay with that gali.
So you have been so vocal on Twitter and other social media platforms. So have you faced any repercussions because of being like this?
Yes. See, repercussion comes in the form of cases. I've been told by many of my briefing lawyers that, sir, आप इतने vocal होते हो, clients आजकल सब देखते हैं, social media देखते हैं, then they get scared. So obviously that will impact upon your briefing. If you see most senior counsels try to remain non-controversial, they don't wade into controversy. They just go about doing their work, making their money, and that's it. So in form of government persecution, I must say that's I have not faced any government persecution or any kind of consequence because of that. But definitely, I have been told that it's something which is held against you. But then again, you have to weigh that if you want to speak out and stand out for the truth, if you want to have your voice heard, and the only reason why I was active is because I was telling that to a person yesterday, that I want one day to tell my grandchildren when they ask me that what were you doing during this period, I want to say that I was not quiet. Right. So, and the other thing is, whoever comes and tells me, sir, I really follow your Twitter, I really follow your articles, I'm a big fan, etc. Other than, of course, being embarrassed, I always tell them that then when it comes to my bail, you must be there to stand by me to ensure that I don't have to go to jail.
Right, sir. I'm sure there will be many standing for you. So we'll switch to the topic that we are hosting you for, and it's related to e-courts. So as we have seen in movies and everywhere, like there is a general perception among people that lawyering is all about maintaining eye contacts, punching the bench or convincing the judge, showing your body language. So how have these things changed when after pandemic the courts switched to online mode? How difficult did it get for you, or how easy did it get for you to be in online courts?
That's a very interesting question that you asked. In fact, there are positives and negatives of both of this. One, as you know, in the online mode, it cut a lot of the time wasted, the slack time in litigation. you will ask any litigating lawyer, they will say the maximum amount of time they spend is actually looking at the board, the display board, which shows which court, what item is going on. So you actually spend hours just looking at the board. This court mein aa rahe, this court mein aa rahe. Then you spend so much time in traffic going from one court to the other. One court, as I mean, is one establishment. Let's say you're going from Supreme Court to the High Court or to the Tribunal or to NCLAT or someplace. So there's so much of time wasted in that. And all that was eliminated with the concept of, virtual courts. And that was really welcome. A lot of us realized that, a lot of this unnecessary time went. And strangely, virtual courts made people conscious also of time, and a lot of people would only make the relevant arguments instead of going on and on and on. So that also cut down on the arguments. Strangely, I don't know what is the psychological reason behind it, but counsels were also very conscious and responsible that they are taking a limited time, limited resource, and the arguments were also brief. That having been said, the positive things of virtual courts, and of course, it brought in a degree of informality. I've written about this, like the judge who would be on a pedestal came down. For the first time, you are facing the judge. There are positives and negatives of that. This whole your lordship, all that went. The judge would come and just say, hi, good morning, and everyone would wish each other good morning. You never had that because we had such a formal colonial system of dispensing justice. But the negative thing, as you rightly pointed out, is a lot of court craft is sensing what is happening in the moment. Like, for example, you're cross-examining a witness and the witness is sitting next to you. You can make out his demeanor, you can make out that gulp that he's taking of the water, or that little hesitation that he has, or the judge can make out how the arguments is going are proceeding. And that is lost out when you have virtual courts. So yes, I would say that is something which was lacking. But then, it's a matter of transition, it's a matter of convenience. So we have to recognize that once you have let this technology in, which has revolutionized, the whole justice system, now you can't put it back you can't put the genie back into the bottle. So we'll have to find ways of dealing with that.
Right. So because before we move on to next question, I want to ask you, what is your viewpoint on this colonial system of your lordship, my lord, or terming them as gods? Yeah.
I am in favor of even abolishing all colonial systems, or not only address your lordships, but even the uniform that we wear, the separate coats, gowns, seniors wear, juniors wear, designation, everything. We should go to a system which is very, very simple. I know it's easier said than done, but it's time we actually saw justice without these trappings of my lord, your lordship, and all that, where it is seen as if a favor is being done. Justice now has to be seen as a service, as a right of a litigant. It is not some gratis or some favor which is being doled out by some lord or some god sitting on a pedestal.
Right. So I hope that one day you leave the bar and move to bench and make these changes. So yeah. So you spoke about the positives and negatives. So are the negatives heavier than the positives? Because last week only I was speaking to one of my college mates. He just graduated and he went to Delhi High Court to practice, and he left Delhi and came to Lucknow High Court. So he was like that in Delhi things were easier because the courts were online, and Lucknow courts are not online. So why is it that all courts are not resorting to virtual hearing?
I agree with you. In fact, certain courts, I'm told even chartered high courts, are not actually even having, forget online hearing, they don't even have digitalization of the court records. Like Delhi has completely digitalized its records. And now you can just take an iPad and argue from your iPad. The judges also have their tablets. In fact, I welcome the Chief Justice saying that every court should, in spite of the fact that the pandemic has gone down, ebbed, should allow virtual courts, because what was happening is even in courts which had online system, there was no uniformity being followed. Certain judges would allow online, would be very happy with online, but certain judges would not view it favorably. In fact, would tell the lawyers that we are sitting here. If you want to argue, why don't you come here? As in, look down on a lawyer who's appearing online. According to me, with greatest respect, that should not be happening. This is a technology which we should welcome. And it should be uniform. I should have the guarantee that, for example, let us say I'm preparing, and this has really practically happened with me. I was to appear in a court and online from outside that place where the court is situated. And the matter was listed before a judge who refused to allow online hearing and just told my briefing lawyer that tell your senior to come the next week, I'll have the case next week. So there comes the difficulty. There should be a assurance that no matter which court my matter is listed, it should be, if the court is following a system of online, it should be uniformly online. That is one with regard to the court, inside the court, intra-court. And inter-court, I agree with you that it is now time that you have uniformity where whether you be in Lucknow, whether you be in Calcutta, whether you be in Delhi, it's the same systems that are followed. We are moving towards that streamlining, and that should happen.
Right. Sir, also there are some matters that require ultimate confidentiality for that matter. Not everyone is present in the court, and if you see that these courts on Zoom or Google Meet or whatever platform they use, if you go to their terms and condition and privacy policy, you'll find that whatever is going on, they are also keeping a record of it. They are also listening to it. So how would people be assured that whatever they are saying is confidential, is secured, and the data is not getting lost somewhere, or it is getting an open access for everyone? So
yeah, you have a point there, and so it's a very valid point, and I think it's too early in the day to grapple with the solutions. But while the solutions have to be found, it is a valid thing. Of course, certain platforms have this concept of meeting rooms where parties can merge or migrate to a meeting room and have a separate discussion where others can't see or others can't hear or others can't participate. And that's how you can provide an alternative to in-camera proceeding. But yes, though others can't see, but the platform provider will have the recording which you are talking about. Now, that is something which will have to be examined. Whether the government itself can generate this kind of software. Today we have Cisco, Zoom, Google Meet and all being used. Whether the government itself or the judiciary itself can generate this kind of platform, whether that is economically feasible at all or not, are factors which have to be taken into consideration. I, as a private citizen, I'm not privy to these kind of details, but I hope those who are at the helm will certainly hear you, and and these are very legitimate concerns, and will surely address them in the course of time.
I believe that the government also cannot be trusted when it comes to data handling. I'm not targeting any government, but I'm just putting forth my views as to what happened with Cambridge Analytica or what.
No, when I say government, I mean the High Court. I mean, at some level, you have to trust the institution or the district court where you're going, where you're taking your case, and where you're having this in-camera hearing.
Right. Sure, sir. So my next question being, what's the major difference that you see between the pre-COVID era and post-COVID era in terms of litigation?
Well, in terms of lawyering, as I told you, that live streaming has completely altered, revolutionized the entire way litigation happens. I'll deal with your question in two forms. One is with regard to the lawyering, and the other is the nature of cases. Okay. Now, so far as as I said, live streaming, as you know, it's now live streaming is on in all constitutional bench cases. In fact, there is live transcribing now, the Chief Justice of India has introduced in the Supreme Court in certain courts. You have certain courts which have actually broadcasting it on YouTube, and this become a big hit. Certain judges who are quite catty or who are quite humorous in dealing with cases, or who are even quite strict in dealing with the lawyers, positively or negatively, strangely, in the internet, it has found wide viewership and fandom. So, as you know, and I can name them specifically, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Patna High Courts have taken the lead in this, and those videos have really gone viral. Now, it's good and it's bad in certain ways also. As I said, in lawyering, a lot of it, while I'm absolutely in favor of transparency, but you also have to be conscious that in many cases, especially government cases or even private cases, we lawyers often tend to be a little reasonable. And, when we know we have a bad case, let's say I'm a government lawyer, I have a bad case, or I feel that justice is in favor of that private litigant. I may tell the court that, I don't want to object it. You don't record my concession, but you pass an order in favor of that poor person who's asking for his pension or his poverty dole or whatever. So the judges would normally, this is pre-recording, pre-transparency, would record that Mr. Ghosh, appearing for the government, has strenuously, vigorously opposed the petition. However, we are allowing it. So, you protect the individual lawyer, and at the same time you do justice. But now the problem is that now everything is being recorded, everything is in live stream. So often the lawyer is also forced to press all the points. There's another matter that, earlier the lawyers would only, A, as I said, give concession. B, even if you don't give concession, you would only press those points which you think really have a merit. But now the clients will say that, oh, look, you had 10 points, but I saw you on the live streaming, you only pressed only 1 point or 2 point. So now the lawyers will also say, client is watching, let me press all the points. So these are issues which we really have to grapple with. Of course, part of this is a court culture, where courts and our legal system encourages endless arguing. So that also has to change. Maybe we have to have a system where, like in America, in the Supreme Court, only half an hour is given to both parties to argue. That will, fine tune the system. So that's on how the lawyering has happened. So far as the kind of cases are concerned, you see, virtual, what the pandemic has done is it has brought in the forefront the digital world. So obviously now you are having a lot of cases which involve digital crimes. Even defamation is now has gone from, as you can see, from newspapers to digital content. So even this Jamtara kind of cheating has now taken a completely different level, at a completely different level. And it's shocking at the level at which this kind of fraud has gone, and the pandemic has exposed it. For example, a very famous celebrity news anchor was fooled into believing that she has got an admission in Harvard. So there was this kind of e-fraud where this was created, this kind of fake offers were created and things were happening. So what you will have post-pandemic, because of the boost of the digital world and more and more using of e-pay, of virtual transactions, virtual dealing, you're going to have more and more of these nature of cases and disputes coming to the forefront, is what I believe.
Right. So what do you think about these digital crimes that are happening? So there's one person on one side of the crime and other is a victim. So the one who's committing it, any crime or wrong for that matter. How difficult do you think is it to trace down that person? Because now you can operate with anonymous identity or fake identities. You can go to some store and log in from there. So how difficult do you think it is to track down the person who's committing these kind of crimes? And earlier, the depiction of a criminal used to be someone with a muscular body or someone who could, just snatch things from you or overpower you. But now when we think of cybercrime, a picture comes in front of us of just a slim boy sitting in front of his computer screen where some green dots are, just running on and these kind of things. So how difficult do you think it has become to track down these kind of people?
Absolutely, and you hit the nail on the head, Aryaman. For example, you found that whole stalking incident. It turned out that it was a minor boy sitting in Bombay or somewhere who was actually using the computer to create those fake profiles, etc. And the way the cybercrime is is happening. For example, you remember how the entire OPD of AIMS was paralyzed for a week because their website was hacked. The cyber criminals operate across borders. They operate in anonymity. They operate in the dark web. And our legal system, our enforcement system, our forensic investigation system, as it is outdated to even deal with the existing nature of crimes. So you can imagine how we deal with cyber crimes. And let me flag another issue, and which is going to be an issue which is going to hit us 10 years from now, is using artificial intelligence to commit crime. And artificial intelligence, how do you, if it is left to the artificial intelligence to devise how to defraud, then you've had it. Where do you get the accountability? What is the nature of punishment? What is the nature of vicarious liability? I mean, it's a minefield. It's really a minefield. Frankly, I really have no satisfactory answers. Yet I can say this much, that we are way, way behind. Always technology law always catches up with technology, right? As you've seen, it's only the technology advances and then the law catches up.
It's hard to keep pace, actually.
Yes, but the point that I'm trying to make is that technology is now progressing in leaps and bounds, and the laws catching up is going in, meters. So that's a problem which we are going to face.
Right. So regarding this AI only, the new Digital India Act that is going to come. So the government says that they'll tackle the high risk AI first, and they'll not deal with AI that is zoned into low risk zone. So if you know that these tools like ChatGPT and other generative AI tools, they don't come under the bracket of high risk tools. But ChatGPT is something, there has been an incident where ChatGPT wanted to enter into the human world and actually wanted to run it. So it happened in Stanford only, where a professor, he asked ChatGPT, do you want to enter into real world? So ChatGPT asked him to perform certain tasks, and as he did so, after that ChatGPT started working on his computer without internet. And I don't know if you know or not, but AI has a short-term memory. So for that reason, it has left messages for itself that I'm a human trapped in this computer, and it has kept Google searches like, how can an AI get out of the computer system into real world? How can it conquer humans, and these kind of things? And also there's something called Chaos GPT. So Chaos GPT apparently wants to get access to nuclear codes and everything, and it wants to destroy humanity. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and like you said, it's hard for law to keep pace with technology, but still I believe that law should be futuristic. And currently the laws that we are having, or the laws that are going to come there, I don't personally believe that they are even tackling the present issues, let alone be what is going to come in future. So yeah, we'll move on to our next question. There has been
what you say is extremely scary. Extremely scary. In fact, as I told you before the interview, I'm old school. I am not into science fiction, but I have heard reports about how the AI have been going out of hand. Very few people understand that around 60 to 70% of the tele calls we receive are actually not by humans but by robots.
Right.
So slowly, if you are a fan of Dan Brown, the last novel of Dan Brown was exactly this, where the AI has completely taken over the human world. So I somehow feel that law will be completely inadequate in dealing with this, because we humans have a tendency of doing this, of creating our own destruction. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, sir. So I believe that Charles Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest will apply once the AI matches human intelligence, because at that point of time it will treat the humans that are smart, that are inferior to it, as its slaves, and the ones that are smarter than it will just try to get rid of them. So I don't know, but in my word, I believe that AI is going to be a threat to humanity as well.
Absolutely. And in fact, if you actually see the Darwin's theory of evolution matches very clearly with the Dashavatara that we have in the Hindu philosophy. And if you see the 10 avatars of Vishnu, it is going from it has a very, very eerie parallel with the evolution which Darwin talks about. And if you see from Parashuram to Ram to Krishna to Buddha, the whole journey is from the physical might to the mental might. So you're right. The ultimate avatar of Vishnu who will save us is from the mind.
Right, right. So I think that there should be some cap to this technological development. It should not just go on and on and on, because ul ultimately we don't know where we are heading to actually. I believe it's complete darkness or something.
See, that is again the issue which this has been asked from the very beginning. That when the caveman discovered the fire or invented the fire,
Right, right,
this was some people said that that was the beginning of his ruination, and some people said that was the start of civilization.
right.
So for us to take a such a absolutist view that no, there should be an end to technology. The issue is ethics in technology. But that's a very challenging thing. That's a very, very challenging thing. That how do you bring in ethics into this of use of technology? And once technology is used as warfare, you've seen the entire nature of warfare has changed. Now, the whole objective was to prevent human damage, right? So, if World War I, so many died. World War II, then lesser died, and now most of the wars since World War II, lesser and lesser humans are coming. So, like you had, for example, the Afghanistan war, there were hardly that many American casualties than Vietnam, because it was the use of missiles. If it can be used, imagine how future will be for.
Right, right. Absolutely right, sir. So we'll come back to our topic now. So there has been an infamous incident where a Bollywood celebrity for that matter, she shared the link to her court proceedings on social media, and many of her fans joined and started doing things there. So how do you see that? And is there something like that happened with you also, or there is any other incident that you would want to share happened with you during online court?
Well, there have been a lot of embarrassments for everyone. We were all getting used to a new technology. I, for example, was arguing for a division bench of Justice Hima Kohli, and at the same time, a single bench case came. So my desktop was division bench, the laptop was a single bench, but only one thing I forgot is to switch off the desktop. So the division bench could hear me argue in the single bench. But because I was trying to do both cases at the same time. So of course you had people who were naked, who were making out with people, who were smoking cigarettes, so all kinds of things happen. But I don't take a moralistic view of this, because at the end of the day, we were going through a pandemic, and let's understand it's once a generation, once a lifetime event. And number two, we were dealing with a new technology. Everyone took time to get used to technology. So even that, you are not taking the name of the celebrity, but even that incident was quite hilarious, according to me. It was avoidable, but again, it was quite hilarious.
Right. So, sir, you say that you started practicing 26 years back. You don't look like you are practicing from 26 years for sure. You look like you are just graduated from college. But yeah, I'd like to ask you how have things changed since then? How was legal researching then? How has it changed now with the inception of technology? Now you can easily detect plagiarism. You can search for cases like in seconds to few minutes. So how do you see the transition?
So let me tell you that I am very, very old.
You don't
So
seem
I am as old as when I was in college. We still had a Soviet Union, so I'm that old. Okay, there was still apartheid in South Africa. Nelson Mandela was still in prison, and Gorbachev was still the Secretary General of Soviet Union. So I'm that old. And to put it in technology terms, since your society is law and technology, when I was in college, there was no computers. I mean, you only had that Sinclairs and those kind of devices. You never had the Apple Macintosh and all that. You didn't have. And those who could afford a computer, it was very expensive. So normally students there was no cell phone, there was no computers. So I can tell you that even then we would cheat, but we would cheat in, like, for example, for our project, we would go to the IIM Bangalore and photocopy the bibliography, bring it back, and then write the bibliography to the end of our project as if we have read those books. We have not. We just went and photocopied the biblio. But there again, to do this bibliography alphabetically was a headache. We would spend 5 hours doing that, whereas today you just have to do sort, and it's alphabetically sorted. So, that was in a lighter way. What I mean is that technology has completely changed, and you have all these abilities to check out who's cheating, how much is plagiarized. Our legal research is actually going through these physical books, opening the books and trying to find cases. We had the digest, which nobody uses now, SCC digest, where you would like go year after year to find the proposition. So today, case law, it has become so easy to find case law. But remember that there's always a flip side to that. It's become easy to find case law, but the tendency to do a shortcut has become even more. The tendency to want instant results is also more. So that is not good all the time.
Right, absolutely right, sir. So my last question to you is for your fans, of course, who look up to you. So actually, sir, I have been someone who's into corporate law since my second year at law school, and I have not done any litigation internship yet. I've not been to courts yet. But the people who are interested in litigation, whom I speak to, they actually follow you, and they want to be like you. They look up to you. So what's your advice for these young people who want to get into litigation, like being a first generation?
Just be yourself. Just trust yourself. And there's one mantra which you have to follow. Don't compare. If you compare, you are dead. Everyone has their own career path, their own destiny. Only thing is keep working hard. And don't think about results. Don't think about instant gratification. Keep working hard. If your senior asks you for X, impress her by doing 2X. And as I said, if you start comparing, you say, "Arey, my classmate, arey, wo to law firm mein chale gaye. She's earning 70,000. I'm with a senior. I'm getting 10,000. This person is doing that case. He's arguing in the Constitution bench. I am doing some simple 138 check bouncing matter." You will go mad. Don't do that. Everyone has their own trajectory. Everyone has their own way you will evolve. And the most important thing is you being satisfied with yourself, you being happy. Not because he or she is doing this and you're not, but only because you are doing this. You set your own goals, you set your own achievement targets and achieve them. Don't compare. And also remember that this profession is a very, very, it's the gestation period is even now with all this technology and everything becoming, Maggie 2 minutes noodle speed. Even now, this profession has a lot of gestation. It took me 5 years to actually open my mouth and argue a case. For 5 years, I was running around with my senior, being my senior's junior. So therefore, you must have patience. Give yourself time. If you don't like a chamber, change a chamber. If you don't like a branch of law you're doing, change a branch of law. There are very great people. I give the example like Dr. Rajiv Dhawan, who is considered India's very famous constitutional jurist. He joined law, I think, post he was 40. He was earlier in Ireland, maybe teaching as a professor or something. So you can come anytime, you can change anytime. This is the flip side or the good side of this long gestation means that you can easily make changes. Like, for example, let's say in a professional tennis career, your career span is very short, right? So you have to make the right decisions instantly. You can't change. If you change, you don't have the time. But in our case, since gestation is so long, you have the time to do hit and run, to do your trials, to do your errors. So be easy on yourself.
Right. Those were some great words of wisdom, sir. Thank you so much. One last question. It's my personal question. Just answering yes or no, please. Are you entering politics anytime soon?
No. But those who say no are the ones to enter politics. I really mean so. I really mean so. I am a political person. I would love to be in politics any day, but I am also a practical person. I know that politics is too dirty. It for people like me, I will not even survive half a day in politics.
No, but I think so good people should enter politics and make it a safe and auspicious place. It's
I hope. Well, our generation has failed. I hope your generation is able to
I'm
make
very
it a
much
better
I'm very much
quality and a better generation.
I'm very much interested into it. Just that my parents support me. I'll get into politics one day for sure. Thank you so much,
All
sir.
the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. It was great speaking with you, Aryaman. Take care.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.